Hello, everyone. Whoops. Let's see here. I'm all miscombobulated here. It's running to Walmart, and I looked at the time and it's like, holy mackerel, it is late. So let's give folks a couple moments to get in the room here. Man, interesting. Yeah, I was at Walmart just recently, and I'm putting stuff away, and I look and it's like, holy mackerel, we got 15 minutes before the show. So, let's see. How's everybody doing out there? I got one person. Do me a favor. Let me know if you can hear me okay or not, and that way I know things are good. That, yeah, do me a favor. Comment below and let me know if you can hear me. So, we're going to have an interesting show tonight, and what I'm going to be talking about is learning from the Ohio Derailment to better our nuke preps, because I noticed a lot of similarities. We have water issues, we have air issues, we have just mass contamination issues. And so I was watching a lot of this take place. And if you've been paying attention to some of my posts and everything, I really encouraged people to get some white plastic sheeting. It's called Visqueen, and it's contractor sheeting and everything. This is for the people who live east of Ohio, because the rain is already falling. I've been starting to see posts. In fact, there was one post from Kentucky of people finding birds all dead in the street and everything. So, but I was really looking at a lot of this here as akin to a nuclear issue, or a nuclear a nuclear attack, or nuclear uh, meltdown, or something like that. And interestingly enough, I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh man, nukes are going to happen. Forget it. We're all going to be dead anyway, and everything." And I want to challenge your thinking on that, because uh, this is an incredible book, and uh, excellent. It's a gentleman by Kershaw H. Kearney, and I've seen him speak a couple times. And then if you watch Canadian Prepper has really has talked to the author of this, or the person who actually edited this and stuff. But in reality, what he's showing is that a nuclear disaster is livable, it is survivable, and if you're properly prepared and things like that, you can get through it. And I mean, there's been just so much propaganda, and I don't know if you remember that movie. What was it? Oh my goodness, it was made for TV movie. Oh gosh, the day that Earth, that's another movie. But hey Debbie, how you doing? Good, thank you so much. Um, but Jason Robart was in it. A number of other people. Jeff Goldblum was in it. A number of other people. But basically, what happens are, the U.S. is nuked, and it was a horrible. Everybody's dying. Everybody's getting radiation sickness. All this other stuff, and it was basically an anti-nuke propaganda movie. And I know it scared the crap out of me when I watched it, and I think I was something like 15, 16 years old, or so, or maybe younger. But it was a lot of these sort of things have become the norm in America, which in reality, and I have to admit, I have not finished this all the way through. I just got this week, came to me from wonderful Amazon, and but it's really laying cases that nuclear events are survivable. And one of the biggest things that the author points out is Hiroshima. And everybody thinks that nuke is going to happen and it's a barren wasteland and all this other stuff. And within 3 or 4 months, plants were already growing again in Hiroshima, and a lot of people did survive Hiroshima. Now, some of them did get cancer or something like that, but a lot of people didn't. And so we need to kind of start rethinking the way we've been taught, which is kind of a lot of wrong, unscientific information. Hey, who would have thunk that one? But I really, really encourage you to get this. The author is outstanding. I mean, he just has tons of documentation and know how to, you know, above ground shelters. I mean, he's totally laid things out here on what you need to do. And about the first quarter of the book is him proving what we have been taught over time, or these last 20, 30 years, that what we've been taught is basically wrong. It's propaganda. And what he's, again, he goes back to Hiroshima and so forth. Hold on. Had to turn off my heater. It's warm in here. But he uses a lot of documentation from that. He points out some of those desert tests and everything, and it's so far it's pretty incredible. And I've changing my thinking on, is a nuclear event survivable? And based upon what he is presenting, yes, it is. And it's just learning how to deal with it. And that's the problem, is a lot of people out there don't know how to deal with it or understand it or anything like that. And so I am going to look for a PDF, because I understand the author has put this out on PDF. That's for free. And so I'm going to look hard and see if I can find it. And I've got another zip folder for you. And what you need to do is sign up for my newsletter. Go to my website, thekiltedprepper.com, and sign up for my newsletter. And this week, I'm going to be sending out a zip file on nuclear preparedness, nuclear preparedness and other things like that. So, but let's see here. Anybody else out there? So, but some of the things that I noticed with this Ohio event, I mean, this railing and everything. I mean, you've all seen the pictures of it. When they blew that plane, I mean, that train up and lit everything on fire and everything, it literally looked like a mushroom cloud. And so it was very, it really got me thinking, how are my own personal nuclear preparation preps, or my nuke preps, going? And I found some holes, or I discovered some holes in my nuke preps because of this Ohio derailment. One of the biggest things that I noticed, or what I am lacking, is Visqueen. And I know I was talking about this earlier, but talk a little bit more in depth about it. But Visqueen is 6 mil to 10 mil contractors plastic. It's pretty thick stuff. And as soon as this event happened, I checked Windy. Go to windy.com, windy.com, and bookmark that, because that is the wind flow and wind directions and patterns and everything. But it'll show you a live of what the wind patterns are taking place right now. And that way. But I instantly checked Windy when I heard about this event, just to see where the wind direction was going. um got to got to find a person in charge of making the decisions, because they need to be held. Totally agree with you, Debbie. Totally agree. Hey, Linda, how you doing? Good to see you too. But one of the first things I did was check Windy and see where the airflow directions, and the projected wind patterns and everything was going. And because my biggest concern is that when vinyl chloride is burnt like that, it produces another chemical but basically it's sulfur chloride or something, but when it mixes with water, it becomes hydrochloric acid. And so acid rain, and because of the levels of toxicity were so high and everything, it's going to be killing a lot of plants and a lot of livestock and everything. I mean, you've seen a lot of the videos out there already of people's chickens. This one guy had a fox farm or foxes, they died. A lot of people's chickens have been dying. People have been talking about scratchy throats, nausea, everything, and so again, a lot of these symptoms are almost kind of nuclear. Um, in a sense, or at least a lot of the same stuff that might happen within nuclear. It's an app, Windy. Yeah. Is that Windy or Windy? Windy, windy.com. Check it out, windy.com. And right there on the homepage, you can instantly see the flows and everything. But again, I checked it right away to see where the wind flows and the projected wind flows and everything, and where we live we are pretty good. And as I suspected, the wind flows are going from Ohio east. Now, what they have done is they have come up, and now some of the cloud is moving into Canada. And but it's also got it's weird. Our jet streams this year are just totally funky. Normally, a jet stream goes like that. This year's jet stream is like peaks and valleys, and so it's a very unusual jet stream. But some of the cloud has been pushed up into Canada, and it's continuing to go across into Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Hampshire, New York, Rhode Island, all those areas. And so, but it is very, very strong. Again, I don't know if you've seen the pictures of the above the cloud picture and the toxic cloud. That's pretty amazing as well. But one of the things, again, going back, is all this stuff is up in the air. Well, what goes up eventually must come down, and so this is why it had me deeply concerned, because and this is what also caused me to think nuclear, is because fallout does the same thing, goes up, attaches itself to water particles, and when it rains it drops all that radioactive fallout down. And uh let's see, I caught you live on my smart TV and opened up my laptop so I can comment. Well, thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Um, but what comes up must come down. And one of the biggest things that instantly got me was, what am I going to do with my garden? And so that's one of the holes that I recognized in my nuclear preps, is if you are able to catch the fallout prior, or catch the acid rain prior, is by pulling out visqueen. And again, visqueen is, and it comes in all sizes and everything, but the most common size is 10-foot wide or 20-foot wide by 100 feet long. And what you do is you can cut it and pull it out and everything, but 6 mil to 10 mil is what you want. And I say this because if this acid rain falls on your ground, then it's going to really seriously endanger your garden's growing capability, because this is sulfuric acid, sulfur and acid. A lot of plants don't like that, and so you would have some very difficult times growing that. And then once you do grow it, what will some of those chemicals actually seep up into your vegetables? And so will your vegetables be somewhat contaminated as well? So these are things that I really, am looking at here. And so if the cloud was coming my way, I noticed that I don't have any visqueen to cover my garden, or at least the area that I want to plant my garden, because we haven't done seeds or anything. It's still too cold here to really get things moving and everything. But if a situation took place and I had my garden in place and everything, how do I protect my garden? Now, with runoff and everything, are you going to protect it 100%? No, but you're going to do the best that you can. And again, these are some of the things that he also mentioned in the book, is having visqueen on hand so that you can protect the soil, protect your garden protect whatever growing area you're able to grow and everything, so that once it passes, you're able to take this up and get rid of it and all that other stuff. And the same thing with the acid rain that's floating around right now. And so, will the toxic cloud go away, disappear? Eventually, it will. It will rain itself out. And the way the direction is going, it keeps going up in the cannon, back down, up, back. And then also, I noticed that it was backing up a little bit, back up into Ohio, and kind of touching a little bit of Kentucky. And again, I don't know if you saw the pictures. They were just coming out today, where birds, they were just birds dead all over the streets and everything in Kentucky. But will it eventually dissipate? No, because yes and no. A lot of it is gonna rain out. So, just like any cloud or something like that, the rain is gonna rain, but when it rains, all these chemicals and everything gonna be, dropped at wherever it rains. So, will this the chemical that is in the air, and there are a couple others, I forget the names, to be honest, because I was looking them up. But your primary one is hydrochloric acid, and it's pretty strong. The parts per million are pretty strong, and so it's enough to do serious damage, and it is killing animals. And so, if this is happening and everything, take the precautions to, if you are in that area or anything like that and it hasn't come to your area yet, take precautions. And if you have a backyard garden, if you have chickens or something like that, I would be tarping things with some, contractor's visqueen plastic. And this way, you're at least able to protect whatever you're able to protect. And I've noticed that about a 6 mil, 20-foot wide, 100-foot long roll of visqueen costs about $120 at Lowe's and Home Depot. They do make it thicker. It's called farming plastic, and that's 10 mil. And so that's really super thick stuff. And so they do make that. And that is going for about a 20 by 100 of 10 mil farmer's plastic, is going for about $230 for a 100-foot roll of that. But that stuff is hardcore. And you can almost make a greenhouse out of that. And you can do the same with visqueen as well. But let's see here. I keep moving because my tripod's right there. Let's see. Well, toxic garden. No, we'd have to cover a bigger area to garden. Yeah. In Western Pennsylvania, still saw birds today. Good. I've been watching the birds. They pay attention to they say pay attention, and I agree. So you're in Western Pennsylvania, Linda. That's interesting. So nothing, is it raining there? That's the big issue. And if it's not raining, then it'll be somewhat safe. But if you saw my picture of the weather map and everything, this cloud it's sitting around 1,500 feet to about 5,000 or 3,000 feet. So somewhere around there. But it's about 1,500 to 3,000 feet is where this cloud is sitting. And it's just moving back and forth, in a zigzag pattern. Go to Canada, come back, go to Canada, come back. And it's slowly just moving eastwardly. And again, also, I did notice that, maybe the cloud broke off and some of it went back west. But because otherwise, unless the birds flew through a cloud or something, they found a whole bunch of dead birds right in the middle of the street on in Kentucky. So here, hold on. For some reason, my Alexa was going off in the background and talking to me. So, but past 2 days, rain today, no rain. Yes, rain, no rain. Okay. So, but I'd be interested in people, are they collecting some of the rainwater? Could you test the rainwater and everything? Which brings me to my next topic, what I don't have item, another hole in my prep kit, and that's a water test kit. And there you're able to test for chlorine and all these other things and stuff. So hydrochloric acid would pop up on a water test kit. In fact, here's the one that I'm looking at, is right here. And Let's see, paste it here in the comments. So, but this is the one that I've been looking at, and there's others that you can get as well. So, but another hole in my Nuke Preps is a water test kit. And so it's interesting how all this is going on, and I'm discovering these holes because situation dictates, and none of us have lived through a nuclear disaster yet, so it'll be all new. But what can besides going out and buying all this other stuff and everything, the norms, it's hard to really tell what you need and everything. And what I try to do is be very realistic and not be reactionary. And so you know um but that water test kit, if it did rain, would you be able to test the water and see if any chemicals or anything like that is in the rainwater? Now, other videos, and I don't know if you've seen these either, but I've seen a number of videos where you'll see a nice stream or a nice river and everything. It looks beautiful and stuff. And then I saw like this one lady threw a log or something into the water, and all these chemicals just came up to the surface. All of a sudden, there was a sheen and everything like that over the water surface and stuff. So I guess these chemicals are somewhat heavy. And so when they enter the water system, it's looking like it's going down to the bottom, but once you stir up the bottom, these chemicals then are released to the surface. And then an actual congressional member was showing what was going on in his area, and actually went out to one of these creeks and stuff, took a stick and stirred it up. And sure enough, chemicals just started bubbling right up, and there was just these sheens and everything over the water. And so it's showing that these chemicals may be persistent in the waterways, and just not flowing along, but by it sinking down to the bottom and then rising when agitated, that almost kind of is like a persistent chemical. And so unless the ground in the rivers or the creeks or something are disturbed, then the chemical just basically sits there in the ground, and it can be re-released anytime. And so that's kind of a scary thought that that's happening. And in the research that I've done, everybody, there's freaking, Uncle Joe's, gang is out there saying, just boil your water and things. And no, boiling your water will not take this stuff out of the water. You literally need to filter it. And so, and you're not going to get one of those, what is it? I don't want to forget the Brita water filter. Brita water filters are not going to filter it, folks. And so what you need to do is actually get some good filter systems. And in my last video that I did talk about these British filters. I don't want to say they were Dunbar or Dunham or something, but those are the filters that we use. And because I don't know if you've seen some of the lab results or some of the people testing the Berkey water filters, and a lot of the claims that the Berkey filters have been making, the tests are not coming up true. And so prior to Berkey, I believe that they used these Dunbar or Dunhams or these certain water filters, and before they started making their own. And but those are the ones that I use. They're out of the UK. One of the negatives is because they're porcelain, and is that they can be fragile. So you just can't be bouncing these things all over the place or throwing them and everything like that, because they'll break. But they are porcelain filters, and they basically filter out everything. But the only way that you're able to get these substances out of the water is by filtering. Same thing with distilling. You can't distill it because some of these chemicals actually bond to the water molecules themselves, and so they need to be filtered. And so if you're just allowing steam, then basically what you're doing is creating hydrochloric acid. If you're, so because that's what blew up into this air and everything. So, but distilling won't work either. So you need to have some good filters. There's some great videos out there. I'm not going to remake the wheel or anything, but you can find videos on making basically a mock Berkey, you know, gravity drip system, and you can probably put it together for about 75 bucks, 80 bucks. And so get some of these porcelain filters that I'm recommending. Get a couple food grade 5-gallon buckets. You drill a couple holes into them, pour it on top, boom, easy peasy, and you've got a Berkey system. And so it's pretty easy to make out 2 5-gallon buckets. But so first hole in my preps that I noticed is I don't have a means to protect my garden and cover it with plastic and all that other stuff. Uh, that's like boiling oil and drink it. Yeah, exactly, Debbie. I had this shell water, great shell. Seashell is great also, and because we have some of their filters as well. They're right up there with Berkey and everything. So yeah, I'm moving all the chemicals and everything. But excuse me. So my first hole was the plastic protecting my garden or protecting the earth that I may plant gardens in, and then the second one is my water test kit. I don't have a means to test the water, and so even if it's raining or anything, is that water good, or will it harm my plants or anything like that? And so that's something. Hey Dale, how you doing, bud? So that's you know. Um, what you need too is a water test kit. And then another thing that noticed that I was lacking, because we have water filters. And I've got my little checklist. That's what I keep looking here. We do have water filters, and I even have replacement water filters for our Berkey system. And but a dose meter or Geiger counter, that was another thing. So, how in a radioactive environment, if it is raining and you have your garden covered and all this other stuff, how do you know if the water that's falling on your garden actually contains fallout or not? And what you need is basically a Geiger counter, and there's a whole bunch of them out there and everything. In fact, Survival Lily did a really good review of a number of Geiger counters, and one of them is the one that I'm kind of looking at. And in fact, here, let me share you the link. But um, the negative, and this is the negative, is that most of these are made overseas, and so there's very hard. If you want to pay for an American made one, you're going to pay through the nose. But you know, the ones that Survival Lily reviewed and everything were really good. And so here's the one that I'm kind of looking at, and there's a number of them out there. They're all basically the same, and in a sense and stuff. But this model was something that she looked at, and it had the kind of the best accuracy and things. Now, you can still go out and buy U.S. government, old U.S. government, those big boxes with the wooden thing and the microphone looking thing on it and everything. And you're going to pay probably about, 5 to 700 plus for one of those. But they're still out there. You can find them refurbished, actively working and everything like that. So those are out there still. But you can spend a lot and get a really really good Geiger counter, or spend a decent. They have a lot of I looked at a bunch of Geiger counters that were actually under $100, and a lot of them just, in fact, again, Survival Lily had some of those under $100 Geiger counters, and they just didn't really perform that well. They said there's radiation in the air, and that's basically it, but it wouldn't tell you what type or anything like that. And so what I'm trying to do is find a good in between Geiger counter. It's not cheap, but it isn't the super expensive, because again, I'm trying to practice realistic prepping for real people, and I don't want to be, just spending like crazy and other things for something that I may or may not use. Hold on one moment. Zero water filter. Is that the seashell filter? Check the stats on it. Um, I know that the sport bottles will eliminate everything out of it, but I don't know if the zero water one, if that's the one by Seashell. I mean, the name sounds familiar, but I can't, I don't know. So, but or the doggone it, I need to let me see if I can look this up real quick here. Boom. Let's see. Um, let's see here. Did I? Yeah, it's Dalton. And let me copy. I'm sorry I'm doing this, but I want to make sure I get this information to you properly. So this is the water filter that I use. And they're made in England. And you can even go a step higher with these, but these ones will pretty much take out everything. But then there's the Dalton Extreme or the Dalton, but it's a step higher. And those filters were a lot more expensive versus these, which these are pretty affordable. And so let's see. Let's see. What is the price? I'm sorry about this, folks. But so these, so you can get a pair of ceramic filters, 2-pack for $59. And Dalton is a really good brand. And again, they have all these different types and different filters and everything. In fact, you can see their Dalton British Berkefeld. That was kind of the Berkey filter systems. If you go to, let me see if I can pull this one up here for you. And I need to learn how to do these videos so you can watch my screen. Copy. So this is basically their Berkey. And it's actually a lot less expensive than what the Royal Berkey is. But again, Dalton, I'm going to say 90% positive that those are the filters that Berkey used to use back in the olden days. Were these porcelain filters. And again, the negative about these porcelain filters is that they are fragile. Now, a positive on these porcelain filters is that you can clean them. And so they are reusable. So you can clean them up and get several uses out of them. And the filters for a 5-gallon bucket, if you get a pair of 2 and everything, you can clean them, 2-3 times. And unless you're throwing mud in them or something, but they'll take care of everything. And so for the price, they're a lot less inexpensive than the black Berkey filters and things. And then I've been watching a lot of videos. Do your own research, folks, and on black Berkey filters, because a number of people come out and are calling out some of these labs that have tested these Berkey filters, and they're not doing what Berkey says they do. And Berkey themselves have come out and they're not, kind of like not responding or anything, because they have not paid to do the testing themselves, because what they're citing is that to test for it, it would cost us $1 bazillion, because you have to test for each individual thing, and it would just cost too much money for them to get it certified and tested and everything like that. So, but some people have been testing the Berkeys, the Berkey filters, and they're not holding par. So, this is why I've kind of switched to the Dalton filters, and they're less expensive. They are fragile, but they work just as well, if not better. In fact, with the questioning of Berkey, they probably work better. And but those are the filters and everything that I would get. And then going back, and I keep going back to water and water filtering and everything, is the dose meter. And the dose meter that I'm looking at is this GQ 500 plus Geiger counter, and real easy to use, real easy to manipulate, very easy to walk around direct and all that other stuff. It would give you basic, counts and everything. But the thing that the hole that I noticed in my preps is that if we did have fallout rain, then how do I test that water to see if it is even radioactive or not? And because the area that we live in, I went to nukemap.com, nukemap.com. It's nukemap.com. And at that website, what you're able to do is put a pinpoint on your house, and then look at what the wind directions, or what would happen, will you be affected by fallout. And so what I did is I checked all the military installations and anything that would have be a potential target. And where we are located, we are actually pretty safe, from nuclear fallout from a number of different areas. And I mean, the biggest one is over in Missouri, and that's what, 2 states away. But there's a big Air Force base there, and I think that's where the nuke bombers are housed. And so if they blow that one up to smithereens, how many days would it take to get here? Will we be affected by the fallout and everything? Because the radiation, you know, um, starts to degrade, you know, and that's something you learn in this book that I'm talking about here, is that in a nuclear event, the radiation from the explosion in and of itself dissipates within 24 to 48 hours. And so it doesn't linger. But it's the fallout that can cause, and it's the fallout that does cause the damage. Now, there is the damage from the initial blast itself and the heat and all that other stuff, yes. But if they would blow up New York City right now, the would it be hot? No, the air there and everything would dissipate. Now, objects, anything that would have fallout on it or anything like that would still be hot. And so, but radiation, radiation from a bomb actually dissipates rather quickly. But the fallout is what you have to deal with. And so going to nukemap.com, what I did is I looked at all the targets. I ran the biggest bomb, because they have a whole bunch of drop downs on nuke map. And so I picked the biggest bomb that could be blown up, and then ran those models. And where we live, we're in a relatively safe area. We live in a bowl, and so we're surrounded by mountains and things. So the winds tend to either blow right over us rather quickly or blow around the bowl. And so it's one of the reasons why we did pick this area. Do you know why FEMA has not helped the people of East Palestine, Ohio? I have my very strong suspicion. My strong suspicion is that Ohio was a very strong Trump state. And in fact, the Palestine area itself was a very strong Trump area. Now, the interesting thing is that President Trump has come out today and says he is going to go visit, the East Palestine area. And interestingly enough, the Biden administration has started to backpedal and said, "Oh, well, maybe we will send some help." So, but as I thought that was pretty piss poor that they weren't going to offer, FEMA dollars or government assistance or anything like that. And so, yeah, President Trump decided to say, you know what, I need to go visit the area and see what I can do. And now all of a sudden, Uncle Joe's backpedaling. So, yeah, update. Michael Carroll says, update, FEMA is on the way. Good job. Thank you, President Trump. So God bless you, bud. But it took him to basically get the ball rolling and everything. Piss poor, don't cut it. It's, yep, totally agree. But it's one of our largest, uh, basically a Chernobyl event, that took place. And so, um, but the thing is that what I've been doing is I've been just trying to learn from it and apply it to a nuclear situation. And what are my holes? And so, the plastic. The oh, come here, little girl. Daphne wanted to say hi. Hi. Yes, that's my little girl Daphne. She came up here, and so, oops. Yeah, that's my little dog Daphne. She's here bopping them off of my leg. But so plastic and being able to protect your ground, protect your garden and everything. Will you be able to protect it 100%? No, you won't. But something's better than nothing. And so look into, if you're planning putting in a back garden, which I highly recommend this year. Um, I would highly recommend that you do a garden this year, especially now. I mean, this is something that I pointed out. I don't know if you guys got that graphic that I put out there and everything, but because the Ohio Valley is now, I mean, let's see, Cincinnati has turned off their water, and Kentucky or some of the cities are now turning off their out inlets from the Ohio River as well. And so cities are starting to react, but this means that these cities are not getting water and or drawing water from other areas or something like that. But when can they reopen these water inlets? But Cincinnati, the chemicals are starting to flow right now and going into the Cincinnati, Ohio River area. And then Kentucky is also preparing and everything, knowing that these chemicals are coming down. But as people are starting to point out, these chemicals are resting in the bed of the river. And unless you upset the river, these, then the chemicals will come up and float down and everything. So I guess these are somewhat heavy chemicals that tend to rest at the bottom. And again, as I was saying, that's a persistent problem. And how are we going to clean these rivers unless we go along and just constantly brush it up and shove all these chemicals downstream, which are going to continue to do and eventually also pollute the Gulf. And so farming and ranching anywhere along the Ohio River, Mississippi, and so forth are going to be severely impacted. And so this is a primary reason to get your garden going, because the Ohio Valley is basically the breadbasket of America, or one of the breadbaskets. California used to be, but then Newbie got into office, and now he's just completely destroying everything, and it's getting harder and harder for California to just produce anything due to the rules and regulations and lack of water, and the spotted red salamander and all their other junk that's going on over there. So California was producing, but it's being very hard. Tomatoes are not being produced anymore. The wine industry is being severely affected. Avocados are not producing anymore. A lot of the nuts, almonds and walnuts and so forth farmers and farmers are ripping their trees up because they can't water them anymore. So Ohio Valley, the a lot of this is shifted to the Ohio Valley, and so if Ohio Valley isn't producing food and California isn't producing food, what is going to happen to food prices? And I believe food prices are going to outrageously go up. Or the other thing is that they're going to plant and harvest anyways, knowing that the ground is contaminated. or, plant and or have the livestock also water the livestock with contaminated water, and knowingly, put food out there that has been exposed to contamination. So that's another concern of mine. Start planting a garden. I mean, if you guys got a beautiful backyard and everything, rip it up and plant a garden. I kid you not. I mean, it is gonna be the difference big time in your grocery bill, and then also your family eating. And so I highly, highly recommend, screw the lawn, plant a garden. But then, um, by doing things like that, another thing is I'm looking at a product called egg glue, and they're made by a company called Omelet, but they are a modified chicken tractor that you can roll all over the yard and everything. We live in the city limits, and so we're limited on how many chickens we can have. We can't have a rooster and all this other stuff. But the great thing about this chicken tractor, aka movable coop, is that you can truck it all over the place and move it, and your chickens will be somewhat range fed and or grass fed, and that let's see. Linda Bob says could have pumped the chemicals out instead of burning it. Yeah. There's a lot of things they could have done, but they didn't. And what surprises me, and it just makes you go is that the powers that be instantly, almost instantly, set the thing on fire and bombed it. Instead of waiting and doing what's right and all this other stuff, they just instantly burned it. And so, with those sort of ramifications, if we want to put on our tinfoil hat here, we know that what, over 110, 120 food processing plants now have been, caught fire or destroyed, or, not producing right now in the last, year and a quarter. And so there's all that going on. We're seeing, the whole thing with chickens and chicken eggs and avian flu and all that other junk, and the chicken feed being, so I really see a messing with the food system. And again, that's, wearing my tinfoil hat. And then, with this thing going on and the Ohio Valley being severely affected, as well as anything downstream from Ohio and the Mississippi, all that's going to be affected and stuff. So I really think food prices are going to really go up high, and then start buying water, folks. If you live among one of these areas, that will pull its water from the Mississippi or pull its water from Ohio, or somehow it's coming into your water system or something like that. Stock up on water and get a good water filter system. It just get those test strips that I showed you just recently, which at the end of the video, what I will do is I'll pin everything, or I'll put all these links and stuff. And if I think of anything else, I'll also put it in the description as well. So, but um, but there's just so much. I mean, I do not see short-term effects. I see long-term effects by this Ohio issue, and it's really got me concerned and everything. Save money and just burn it. Yet shoot down birthday balloons with $400,000 missiles, $4 million missiles. Yep, that's true. One of them missed. So I saw a meme the other day, looking for, Sidewinder missile, if found, so, but, but another thing that I highly, highly recommend, and I'll put a link to this as well. Get this book, folks. And they had the older version, but this is the new 2022. It came out, I believe, in October. So get this and really read it. Again, about a quarter of it, the first quarter is talking about, is nuclear events survivable, and he uses a lot of great information. And it's not, you know, it's the movie The Morning After. That's it. The movie, it's called Morning After. and it was with Jason Robar and Jeff Goldblum, not Jeff Goldblum, some other Jeff guy, but a whole bunch of actors were in it, and it was a very anti-nuclear propaganda movie that was on TV, and just showed, but that's what everybody now thinks is the norm. And so why should I, strive to maybe survive a nuclear event? And yet, the science behind it is showing otherwise. And this guy, again, he pulls like crazy from Hiroshima and things. So um but get this book. I want to say it was like $24 or something like that. Well worth it. And I'll put a link to this also in the description, or pin it to the top and everything. But everything that I'm talking about tonight, I will give you some links. And yes, I do, the gratuitous disclaimer, items on links, not much. So, but you have to now post that yes, I do make money. So, um, but yeah. Let's see here. We're coming up on 10 minutes. It's anybody have any questions or anything like that? I've basically kind of showed what I've been thinking. I've also been showing at my um, the holes in my preps and everything. What are some of the holes in your preps? What are the things that you're noticing? Or do you just have comments or questions, other besides the topic of tonight? Yeah, that maybe I can help you with. Um, if you can, please like, subscribe, and share this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And then ring that little bell so that you'll get notified that I've put up a new video. So I'm really liking these live videos, and I hope that you guys are liking them as well. Um, but everyone, please call me Heath. Hey, Heath, how you doing, bud? But you know I'm really like doing these live videos. Hopefully these live videos are helping you on a Saturday night. I'm really making sure that we do these every Saturday night, and so that same bat time, same bat channel, you guys get used to it, I get used to it, and we just have a lot of fun, get to know each other. I'm starting to see a lot of regulars, and I really appreciate you guys. And so I appreciate Sherry. I appreciate is it Michael? I think Linda Bop, definitely, and Sherry, and some of the others. So I'm starting to get to know you guys and remember names and everything. But if you there is this is something different. There is an app out there called Telegram. Telegram. Let me see here real quick. I think it's Telegram. Yeah, called Telegram. And on it, this Telegram is it's all encrypted. It's American made. It's American done. It's very, it has no connections, so that you'll be censored at all. It's very free speech, and so, but it's a great messaging system. But I say all that because what I've started is a news group on Telegram. And what I'm doing is I'm getting these growing numbers of news groups that I'm joining on Telegram. And when I find something that's of importance, I can instantly share it to all you guys who are subscribed to Telegram as well. Telegram is a free app. It's on your phone. I use it on my computer and things. It's a great way of staying ahead of the news. And what's interesting is that I'm learning about news on Telegram first, and then about 24, 48 hours later, news is being reported in the mainstream media, as well as some of the other more other news sources. And I watch, I'm on Newsmax a lot. I'm on Daily Caller, Daily, um, what is it? Uh, Oh gosh, Daily Wire. So I'm on Newsmax, I'm on Daily Wire. I belong to some other groups and things, but get on Telegram, and I'll put the link again in the description. But get on there and get on that Telegram news feed that I'm putting out there, so that you can stay abreast of important news. Because I heard about the trains derailing in Tennessee and Houston, like within 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden it's being blown up over the internet 2 3 hours later. And then the same thing with the Michigan one. it's being so news. If important news is important to you, or critical news, I get on Telegram, and then anything that I think is important that you guys need to know, I'm instantly just zapping it out and forwarding it to you guys. So, but it's a brand new channel that I started. I think I got 22 people on it already following me. So I'm not going to try to spam you to death or anything like that, but it is a way of staying up on the news ASAP. And the faster you're able to get to the news or the news in that fashion, the faster and more time that you have to react. And so um, this is how I knew about the Ohio derailment too. Uh, Within 15 minutes of it happening, of the derailment, I was getting news, hey, train derailed with chemicals and everything like that. So, um, but great app, telegram.com, or you can download it for your Apple, and you can download it for your Android and things. So look at those. Give us your name on it's the Kilter Prepper. And what I'll do in the description of this video, and I'm looking over here so I can read this stuff. I'll put a link directly to the news. Yes, Ray and I are connected on all platforms. Our create content as well. Yep, great. I'll check it out. So, but you know, what else can we talk about here? Any other questions? Anything like that? Subscribe to my newsletter. That's right. Subscribe to my newsletter, because this Wednesday I will be putting out a zip file again. Hopefully all you guys got the cookbooks, and hopefully they were good and you liked them. Well, it's getting a little dry. You liked them, and they've been helpful and stuff. I'm going to try to do that a lot, because I've got a pretty extensive digital library. I want to say I got something like 7+ gigs, 8 gigs of PDFs and all these other things. And so I'm going to be trying to share this information with you, but you have to sign up for my newsletter, because that's how I'm going to send out the link. And I'm going to start sending out the links on Wednesday, so that people have time, as they're watching this video, they're able to, sign up and everything like that. And then some of you were late. I still was able to get it out to some of you guys too. So you missed the initial mailing. My phone wouldn't let me download the cookbooks. Try it on your computer, because it might be a zip file. I mean, you might be on an iPhone. I don't know, but I put it together in a compressed zip file, and so that will then open it up and everything. But Linda Moore, Kilter Prepper. Anything else? No. So, but yeah, this Wednesday I will be sending out a folder of nuclear preparedness files and just other information and so forth. And if I can find this book in time, because it is, I want to say the author put this out on PDF, and it's out there for free. I've just got to find it. And if I can find it, I'll add it to the zip file as well. So, or at least there is the last version, because this is the 2022. It came out in October. So, but I'll at least try to find that and see if it is available. And if it is, then I'll try to send it out to you guys as well, because the author really wants to get this information out there and things. So the cookbooks was too large for my ancient computer to handle. Really interesting. I thought they were only about 50 megs inside, or maybe 500 megs in size. I forget. But I'm sorry, Dale. I'll see what I can do about that. Yeah, my computer is 2011. It's ancient too. But I'm going to do another one with the nuke stuff. And then do me a favor, Dale and Linda, private message me. I think both of you are friended me on Facebook. Message me some of the details about that, so that maybe I can either shrink the folder more, or not put as many files, and maybe do multiple folders or something like that. But message me your specs so that I can see what's going on, because I want you guys to get this stuff, and it's important to me. And so, but to get it, you need to join my newsletter, which is at thekilterprepper.com or raymondmhor.com, MHOR.com. The Kilter Prepper will actually take you to raymondmhor.com. So, but Kilter Prepper is a lot easier to remember versus Raymond Mhor. So many people, don't spell my last name correctly. It's Mhor. And so the Kilter Prepper is just easier. I'll try not to, so, okay. But go there, sign up for my newsletter, and I'll send out your links. I'm going to start sending out more news also in my newsletter if anything happens. Augustin Farms, and again, private message me or email or anything. I'm always keeping an eye on Augustin Farms. I love Augustin Farm products, and Amazon has some of the best prices. But the interesting thing is Amazon, Augustin Farms does these flash sales. So they do like a sale for like 24 hours. And, like potato shreds. Potato shreds were something like $7 for a 1 gallon can. And so, we got some of those. And then cream of wheat also was like $8 for, again, 1 gallon can or number 10 size can. But Augustin has these flash sales. And so I'm constantly keeping an eye on those. And if I find something that's on a flash sale, I'll try to email it out to you guys so that you can take advantage of it. It's a great way to get 25-year shelf life food at a really reasonable price. For example, black bean burger mix, I got a number of cans of those, and that price was like $9.98 or $9.95 or something. And so the prices on these things constantly go up and down. But if you're not tracking it, then you don't know. And to help you track, I've actually created a page on my website. And if you go under store, it's that very first one that says Augustin Farms. And what it is how I track Augustin Farms. And so you go there, hold your shift, reload, and it'll bring up all the prices and everything. And so that's how I keep an eye on what's going on with all the Augustin Farm products and things so that I, take advantage of these sales. I mean, cream of wheat, you get a box of cream of wheat, man. I checked it. It was something like $3 or $4 for just that little itty bitty box of cream of wheat. Where with Augustin Farms, I was able to get a whole gallon or a number 10 can size for $8.25 or something like that. Super, super inexpensive. And Michael says I bought 3 cans of the black bean. Yeah, it was a great sale. But you've got to stay on top of these things. Otherwise, you don't know that the sales are going on. So what I will do is I will try to, if I see a sale, I'll send out an email. Or another thing, what I can do is I can put it on my Telegram and my Telegram group. So that actually would be probably a better solution. So that way I'm not just spamming you guys all the time with stuff and things, but I'll put it in my Telegram. That's what I'll start doing. And then when I do send out emails and everything, I will put a list of, hey, I've seen these on sale for Augustin Farms. Check it out, blah, blah, blah. So, and so Michael says, email, please do. Okay, I'll do that as well. Because I don't want to spam you guys with a bunch of emails. I'd rather you guys, stay on with me on these newsletters and everything. But when you get so many new, emails, like, at least I do. I don't like getting emails from prepper companies and prepper stuff every day. It gets pretty old pretty fast. But that's everything that I can think of. Hopefully this evening was informative. And so basically what I wanted to talk to you about is the holes that I discovered in my Nuke Preps that this whole Ohio derailment caused me to think about. And if this video was helpful for you guys, great. If you can think of any ideas or discussions or anything that you'd like me to talk about, please comment below. Let me know or send me an email, ray@raymondmhor.com, ray@raymondmhor.com, and or private message me on Facebook or so forth. I live on Facebook, as many of you know. And then also like, subscribe, and share. But let me know what you guys want to learn. I'm going to start talking a lot about gardening because gardening season's coming up here. I'm going to be talking more and more about food dehydration and doing dehydrating. In fact, I've got jalapeno peppers in the dehydrator right now that I'm going to turn into jalapeno powder. And my wife is on here right now. She can attest. This stuff is wicked hot. And you wouldn't think that for jalapenos, but somehow, when you use a dehydrator, what it does is concentrates the flavors. And so these jalapeno powder that I make, I mean, she only uses just a little sprinkle of it in her stuff. And I don't do it. I'm a big wimp when it comes to hot stuff, but she loves the jalapeno powder. But yeah, it's wicked hot. But I'll be making some of that. I might shoot some video, showing you what I'm doing and everything. The only negative about it is that when you open up the canister, these little whiffs of clouds of jalapeno powder is coming up, and it is just like tear gas. And yeah, it's you get all runny nose or watery eyes and coughing and everything. Even when I opened it up outside, the last time I made it, I opened it upside and it still happened. So, but that's everything, folks. Um, we'll see you. Goodbye. God bless. I'm Raymond Mhor, the Kilted Prepper. Like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you. Kilt on.